Mr. Li Changyuan, Division Chief of the New Energy Department. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends from media, good afternoon. The CPC Central Committee and State Council pay great attention to efforts related to energy. And in 2014, President Xi Jinping proposed the Fall Innovation Strategy for Energy, which provided a fundamental guidance for China's energy development. He has also drawn the picture and blueprint for China's energy future under the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping and its core. The NEA has reinforced its efforts in building China's energy strength. We have improved China's energy security and promoted China's sound social and economic development. Since 2014, the per capita energy consumption has dropped by 20%. The energy consumption has increased by 9%, but the GDP has increased by a total of more than 20%. The energy mix has been optimized. Coal consumption increased from 65% in 2014 to 56% in 2020. The annual drop is 1.4%. We have seen a record of coal consumption drop in history. Natural gas improved from 16.9% to 25.5%, accounting for 60% of the incremental energy consumption in China over this period. The super low emission of coal plants increased to more than 1 billion kilowatts. We have saved a total of 150 million tons of equivalent coal. In the meantime, we have established the world's largest charging pile network. In total, we have installed 31.9 billion charging piles across the country. Amongst the developing countries, we are the first to realize electricity for all. We also built a 26.36 million kilowatt capacity for all the impoverished areas. In the meantime, we have ensured all the households in terms of electricity. In the meantime, we have invested more than 150 billion yuan for electricity. According to the World Bank Global Business Consumption Index, China's electricity rating has now been elevated to 12th in the world. Second, energy supply and quality have improved dramatically. China's energy total installed capacity has reached to 2.4 billion kilowatts, and the per capita amount increased to 1.7 kilowatt. We have surpassed that of the England, Germany, Australia, and France. Electricity security level is on top of the world, and China has not witnessed a major blackout over the past 10 years. In 2020, coal production nationwide reached 4.13 billion tons. The productivity of major coal mines accounts for 70% of that China's national total. Renewable energy has seeing a total installed capacity of 1.1 billion kilowatt hour, accounting for 61.8% of China's national total. New energy has a total installed capacity of 2.49 trillion kilowatt hour, accounting for 20.9% of China's total. We also established 33 AC and DC routes. The west to east electricity transfer exceeded 295 million kilowatt hours. New type of electricity storage has a total installed capacity of more than 400 million kilowatts, and the total production of oil and natural gas increased to 365 million tons of oil equivalent in 2021, and for 3 consecutive years, the productivity of oil has increased. Third, energy technological innovation has reinforced. We have built a whole industrial chain covering the installation and deployment of new energy electricity. A number of hydraulic power plants have been put into operation with an annual capacity of more than 100 million kilowatts. Optical battery and a number of other new energy sectors have refreshed the world's record. The exploration and technology in a number of new energy has reached the leading level of the world. China has the Huarong #1, Gobi #1, and other third generation of nuclear power generation technologies. And we have systematically mastered the fourth generation of nuclear power production technology that features high temperature power production. And for a number of nuclear plants, we are currently in the process of engineering preparations. In the meantime, the 50,000 kilowatt hour gas turbines for power generation has been put operational. Number 4, institutional reforms have been deepened for the energy sector. Important breakthroughs have been made in the electricity sector. We have opened more and more sectors to the market. The electricity market has been further optimized. In 2021, the market transaction of electricity reached 3.8 trillion kilowatt hours, accounting for 45.5% of China's total. Social investment is now allowed into the electricity market. In 5 batches, we have put into 459 electricity pilot reforms programs, and we have altogether 5,000 companies in electricity allocation and transaction. So nowadays, people can purchase electricity from multiple providers. And number 5, we have made important progress in energy cooperation with the whole world. Important cooperation efforts are made under the Belt and Road Initiative. The BRI Energy Ministerial Conference was held, and important partnerships have been built with other Belt and Road countries. China has established intergovernmental energy cooperation mechanism with more than 50 countries. With more than 30 international organizations and multilateral mechanisms, we have established cooperation. China has also engaged in green project cooperation with more than 100 countries and regions. So the color of green has become the backdrop color of BRI Energy Cooperation. Huarong #1 as a third-generation nuclear technology has been exported overseas. The PV industry has now been exported to more than 70% of the countries in the world. With our neighboring countries, China has been deeply advancing the interconnectivity projects in energy. China is now having an increasing influence in the energy sector at the global level and is making important contribution to building a even cleaner and more beautiful world. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Minister Zhang. And now the floor is open for questions. Please identify yourself before asking the question. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm with China Media Group. The 14th Five-Year Plan is a crucial period for the dual carbon goals. And what measures has the NEA taken to achieve the dual carbon goals at a time when global energy supply is in a very tight situation? What measures do we have to mitigate the situation? Thank you very much for your question. The NEA will earnestly implement the goals made by the CPC Central Committee and State Council in carbon peak and carbon neutrality. And we believe the 14th Five-Year Plan is a crucial period. In the meantime, efforts have been made to promote energy transformation and green innovation. We have been vigorously developing non-fossil fuel energy, and last year renewable energy increased by 130 million kilowatt hours. In October last year, we have exceeded the benchmark of 1 billion kilowatt hours in terms of installed capacity, and in May this year, we have exceeded the total installed capacity benchmark of 50 million kilowatt hour. We believe that by 2022, renewable energy will account for more than 18% of China's energy mix. And this year, we have opened 6 new nuclear power plants. Second, we are making efforts to increase the application of clean coal. We're making flexible renovations of coal production and coal power production. In 2020, we have renovated the power plants with a total capacity of more than 260 million kilowatt hour, and this has laid a solid foundation for our targets during the 14th Five-Year Plan. Third, we are replacing the end use of terminal with green energies. Clean energy is now supporting the heating of more than 15.62 million square meters. This has made important contribution to reducing carbon emission. It has also contributed to 1/3 of the clean air action, and you are living in Beijing. You have felt the improvement of Beijing's air quality, and China's clean coal efforts has made important contribution in this regard. In the meantime, as of June this year, we have built 3.92 million charging power facilities. In 2025, we will be able to charge more than 20 million new energy vehicles. Last year, there was a tight supply in energy, and many European countries have resumed their coal power plants. China has reinforced our energy efforts, and new energy has increased its proportion by 0.7%. we have maintained the annual growth since the 18th National Congress of the CPC. From now to 2030, we estimate that the new energy propulsion will be increased by 1% every year. We have the confidence and resolve to peak our carbon emission by 2030. Next question, please. Thank you very much. I'm with Pengpai News, or the paper. Against the current backdrops, what is the view of the NEA in the new energy landscape, and what are the new challenges facing NEA? Thank you for your question. In order to achieve the dual carbon goals and achieve long-term energy security, the overarching principle of China's energy policy is to ensure energy security and also promote the low carbon and green transformation of China's energy mix. The energy trend in China is that fossil fuel energy will be dramatically reduced. Wind, optical power are the fastest growing energy forms, and they account for a big proportion in incremental energy produced in the country. Solar and wind, they are very important to the low carbon and green transformation of China's energy mix, but they are they feature high fluctuations and they cannot produce electricity in a consistent manner. So in order to ensure China's energy security, we have to grasp with the following 3 points. The first is to balance security and development. We need to stabilize growth and optimize our structure so that we can strike a balance between development and carbon reduction, and strike a balance between midterm development and long-term stability. In the near future, the overall demand of energy in China will continue to increase. So, constrained by the dual carbon goals, China will vigorously develop non-fossil fuels and promote sustainable green energy forms. In the meantime, we're going to coordinate the relationship between fossil fuels and non-fossil energies. In energy consumption, more and more energy will be from renewable energy. Fossil energy, they play a basic role in such relationships. And second, we have to deepen our reform in energy. And we have to build a market mechanism that aligns with the new situation of energy in China. Also, we have to further optimize our electricity market, delegate powers and streamline our electricity services, and through the market means, we will dramatically reduce the proportion of fossil fuels and ensure the level of energy security. Renewable energy must dramatically reduce its cost. In the meantime, it will have to further demonstrate its green energy value so that we can truly leverage the advantages of different forms of energy and drive the optimized allocation of different energy forms and incentivize different market entities on the in the energy sector. And also, we have to channel more renewable energy to traditionally energy-rich regions. Third, we have to improve the rule of law in the energy sector. And also put in the first place the construction of rule of law government, and also build a legislation system and improve our legislation in the sector of energy. and also in the reserves of oil. And through a number of efforts, we have to further popularize the laws and make people aware of these laws, and make sure that the laws are put at a fundamental position in promoting the sustainable development of China's energy mix, so that we can truly make a solid foundation for the construction of energy security in China. Next question, please. And with Bloomberg, because of the recent heat waves, there has been some curtails of electricity. For example, encouragement by provincial government in Zhejiang for orderly consumption of electricity. And what is your comment on this kind of situation? Will this situation become worse in this summer? Thank you very much for your question. I have the division chief of the electricity department, and Mr. He will answer your question. Well, thank you very much for your question. So we have taken note of this situation since July in Zhejiang and in some other regions in China. There have been some curtails of electricity. And these are the response measures of different localities to reduce the consumption of electricity. Since entering July, with the economic growth of the country, and also because of the fact that the temperature is much higher than the same period last year. And you can see throughout the world there is a heat wave. Between July the 12th and 15th, the electricity load in China has broken new record. And on July the 16th, the total electricity consumption of the country reached 1.26 billion kilowatt hours, making our supply in a very tight situation. And we believe that towards the end of July and at the beginning of August, we're going to see a peak of electricity use. According to the general plans of the State Council and CPC Central Committee, we have taken a number of countermeasures in advance to prepare us against the potential tight supply of electricity. And here I want to take this opportunity to brief you about some of the measures that we have taken. First, regarding the stabilizing of power supply, we are constantly improving our monitoring and surveillance. We're making coordinating efforts with different stakeholders and government departments and industrial associations to carefully analyze the power situation of the country, so that we can truly and timely understand the power supply in different provinces, so that we can be rapidly responsive to some of the contingencies. So this is number one. Number two, advance the investment of major power programs. In the first half of this year, newly invested power projects hit the total installed capacity of more than 70 million kilowatt hours. So as of the middle of this year, the newly added electricity capacity has reached more than 180 million kilowatt hour. Among that, 70 million has been registered by the first half of this year. And we now have a increased capacity of power supply to China's southeast region. Those measures have been proven very effective. It will dramatically increase our capacity in power and also improve and enhance our preparedness against power shortages. And number three, improve the preparedness in terms of raw materials for power generation. And coals for electricity generation are in good stock. The contingency power generation has now been reduced to a record low in history. Number four, we are going to guide different localities to respond to potential power shortages. As you have mentioned just now in your question, that there has been curtail in some regions. And globally, there is a universal measure that is called the electricity demand response. And basically, we have to carefully analyze the market and adjust the power consumption across different industries and sectors. If they can cooperate in doing this, they can be subsidized from the government so that we can truly balance the consumption of electricity across different sectors. In the meantime, it will optimize the social and economic development of the country. In recent years, China's power demand has been increasing year by year, and the growth speed of demand has far outperformed that of supply. In the meantime, we are seeing a growing gap between the peak hours of electricity use of the day. Despite this, we will continue to hold firm to the bottom line of not taking curtails measures in terms of supplying coal for power generation. We have strengthened the accountability system at the provincial level. We have signed the accountability letter with different provincial government. In the meantime, we have stabilized the policies related to coals. We made it very clear that the coal supply stabilization policy will continue to be effective until next March. Coal production has been synchronized across the different provinces, and on a daily basis, we are monitoring the output of coal production in different provinces so that we can provide truthful and timely information to different power plants in the country. Number four, we are putting on the ground advanced power productivities in coal power generation. We have increased more than 60 million tons of coal equivalent in the first half of this year. We are also playing a supervisory role for the coal producers and the coal power plants. Through the above-mentioned measures, although we have seen some record high temperatures and the record level of power demand in the country, power supply has been stable in recent months. In general, we are confident in stabilizing the supply of electricity. I want all of you to be rest assured that efforts will be taken to stabilize the power supply of the country so as to ensure the needs of electricity across the country. Well, thank you very much again for your question, and thank you for showing interest in China's power supply. As Mr. He has mentioned, that in China, sometimes there are a couple of hours throughout the year that there are power shortages in a country. So what we try to achieve with our measures is to dramatically reduce the power consumption for those particular hours throughout the year so that we can truly stabilize the power consumption. Thank you very much. I'm with the China News Agency. Since last year, China has put forward the goal of transitioning towards containing both the power consumption and carbon emission. And what measures do we have towards that goal? Thank you very much for your question. Well, China has transitioned from containing the overall energy consumption to containing carbon emissions. Everybody is paying a lot of attention, and last December at the Central Economic Conference, President Xi Jinping delivered an important speech explicitly vowing to establishing a dual carbon control mechanism. He also encouraged to create favorable conditions to achieve the transformation of green energy. And this is a very important decision made at the central government level. Everybody knows that the carbon emission is mainly contributed by the burning of fossil fuel. From the transition of containing energy consumption to carbon emission, we will be able to transition to the dual carbon targets. The significance of this transformation is demonstrated through two aspects. Number one, it has highlighted the policy emphasis of containing a fossil fuel consumption, and this is very conducive to enhancing the accelerated development of non-fossil energy forms. On the other hand, it is conducive to containing the efforts in carbon reduction so that in the future we can rely on more non-fossil fuels to meet the increasing demand in energy. So this has made China's energy supply more flexible, and we are more targeted at containing the carbon emission of China. I want to specifically point out that containing energy consumption and cutting carbon emission, they are crucial to China's development at present. China has a population of more than 1.4 billion people, and right now we are on the journey of modernizing the socialist economy, and the per capita level of our GDP lags behind of those developed countries. As was introduced before, that energy will continue to maintain its growth momentum in the foreseeable future. For example, compared to G7 countries, we are only at the level of 53% of those G7 countries in terms of per capita energy consumption. So there is a reasonable range of growth for China's energy consumption, and there will be some flexibilities for China's energy growth in the foreseeable future. And last year, China has published the 14th five-year plan for energy production. If you have read the report, you will know that some of the parameters have been removed off of the assessment framework. And you can see that the target is set for China to dramatically improve the proportion of non-fossil energy farm to 40% of its total energy mix. With the accelerated development of hydraulic power and wind farms, we believe that towards the end of the 14th five-year plan, the non-fossil fuel will account for more than 60% of China's total energy mix. So China will be better poised towards a greener energy future. Thank you. Well, let me quickly add a few words. The biggest characteristic of this transition is that in the future, we will continue to supply energy. But if you are using clean energy, you will be given a green light. If you recalcitrate on conventional energy, then you will be facing restrictions because new energy does not produce greenhouse gases. So there will be a lot of green lights for those enterprises using clean energy. So in so doing, we are coordinating energy security with economic development and also balancing our efforts in economic growth and climate control actions. Next question, please. Thank you very much. I'm with Xinjiang newspaper. Since this year, there has been a tight power supply at a global level. What is the energy output in China in the first half of this year? How do you foresee the second half of the year? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your question. Energy supply and ensuring the stability of energy supply are crucial to each and every one of us. In the first half of this year, the energy sector has followed through the decisions of the CPC Central Committee and the State Council. We have put it in the first place to ensure energy stability. Efforts have been made to offset the fluctuations of the energy market at the global level. In the meantime, efforts are made to build an energy reserve market. This has successfully supported China's social and economic development. Investment has dramatically increased in the first half of this year. And we have followed through the policy of stabilizing growth. In the first half of this year, major investment in energy has saw a year-on-year increase of 15.9%. This year, those major programs that are ready to be operational, non-fossil energy accounts for 87%. Second, energy supply and supply quality have increased and improved dramatically. We have vigorously developed non-fossil fuels in terms of the new installed capacity. We have dramatically improved the proportion of clean energy. Hydraulic, wind, and solar energy have seen rapid development. And they have seen a year-on-year increase of more than 20%, 7%, 15.7%. In the meantime, we have dramatically enhanced the productivity of coal mines, and coal production has increased by 11% year-on-year. And this has laid a solid foundation in ensuring electricity output. The output for electricity used coal has increased by 1.7% year-on-year. going into the second half of the year, we believe China's energy consumption will continue to increase at a speed that might be faster than the first half of this year. If we enter winter, there will be increasing demand in coals and natural gas. After passing summer and when we enter November, we will be encountering the energy consumption peak in the winter season. The energy sector will continue to make some contingency plans, and as was mentioned earlier, for quite a number of years, the NEA has signed contract with enterprises and different local governments, and we have formed emergency plans to respond to the drastic increase of energy consumption. So we will make all efforts to stabilize the energy supply in the second half of the year. Well, in recent years, we have seen rapid development of China's economy, and that is why the energy consumption has also expanded. But under the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee and the central government, and under joint efforts of all the practitioners of the energy sector, we have the confidence to ensure energy security. Thank you. Next question, please. I'm with TMU News. Since the Russian-Ukraine crisis have broken out, there has been sanctions on Russia, which has resulted in a price hike of oil and natural gas. So the expectations on natural gas has also been affected. How has the Ukraine crisis affected China's security of energy? And do we have any plans to import more energy from overseas? Thank you very much, and let me answer your question. Thank you very much. And since the Russian-Ukraine crisis, Russia has faced multiple rounds of sanctions, and this has dealt a heavy blow to the energy sector. The supply and demand balance of energy has broken, facing challenging and sophisticated international situations, and the serious task of deepening reforms in China. We will make all decisions to ensure energy security despite the changing external environments. Domestically, we will take all solid measures to ensure our power supply to support the high-quality development of our economy and also the demand of the public. In 2018, President Xi Jinping has made important guidelines on dramatically improving China's natural gas supply. And China has dramatically enhanced its natural gas reserves. And within 3 years, China's natural gas reserve has doubled. As of present, China is making steady progress in building underground storage facilities for natural gas. We have the sufficient reserve to meet challenges. Also, we have formulated the nationwide natural gas reserve plan, and this will be of great significance to China's energy security. By the end of 14th five-year plan, we estimate that the natural gas reserve level can be doubled against the year of 2015. The natural gas supply and its steady supply have entered a new chapter, and going forward, we are going to further step up our reserve and improve the production, supply, storage system, enhance our preparedness against risks, hold firm to the security bottom lines, and increase our self-sufficiency level. In terms of international cooperation, we are committed to engaging in communication and dialogue and cooperation, and we will strengthen our cooperation with energy producers and consumers all across the world so as to ensure China's energy supply and also the important import channels of natural gas in China's northeast, northwest, and also marine ports. In the first half of this year, China has imported more than 250 million tons of oil and 115 million tons of coal. These have made a positive contribution to ensuring China's power supply. Next question, please. Thank you very much. I'm with 21st Century Economic News. As was mentioned, the energy price at the global level has dramatically increased. How will that affect China's new energy industry? Thank you very much for your question. And now Mr. Lee from the New Energy Division of the NEA will take your question. Thank you for your question. The Ukraine crisis has truly dealt a heavy blow to the global energy market. It also affected the global energy transition. But the green and low carbon transition of energy in the world will not be changed. Fighting climate change has become a global consensus, and low carbon and green transition have become the universal action of the world, and new energy has become the common area of investment, and new energy has become the new battlefield for all the countries wishing to transition to green energy. According to our statistics, solar power market has maintained a stable, steady momentum of growth in the first half of this year, and total exports of solar energy in the first half of this year reached 29.5 billion yuan. In recent years, China has made important headways in new energy in terms of technology, installed capacity, and also the industrial chain capability. The solar energy and new energy sector are now featuring competitiveness at the global level, and President Xi Jinping at many different occasions have made important speeches and guidance for China's new energy sector. He has also put forward new requirements, but the Ukraine crisis has reminded us that although the great trend of low carbon transition will not change, there will be challenges, and we will earnestly follow through the guidance of President Xi Jinping, coordinate between development and security, and promote those alternative energy options, stick to innovation-driven development, and to constantly reinforce China's competitive edge in the new and clean energy sector so that we can make positive contributions to carbon peak and carbon neutrality. Next question, please. I'm with Beijing Broadcasting Station. Can you give us a brief introduction about the installation of solar and wind powers in large desert and Gobi regions? Thank you very much. In deserts and Gobi regions of the country, we are building a lot of wind power facilities and capabilities, and this is according to the requirement of President Xi Jinping to enhance our energy security. The NEA has earnestly followed through the guidelines made by General Secretary Xi Jinping, and we are focusing on Gobi Desert to dramatically increase our capability of wind power. In desert and barren lands and Gobi Desert, we are making great efforts in dramatically stepping up our new energy facility. Number one, we have built a sound coordination mechanism. On a monthly basis, we are making coordinating efforts, and we are also monitoring the progress made by different provinces. Second, we have built some large pilot programs, and the green channels are established to coordinate the efforts of different provinces. Third, we have defined the bottom line for ecological preservation. We are mobilizing our efforts with the People's Bank of China and also the National Administration of Forestry and Grassland. So a number of financial supportive measures have been introduced to support the development of new energy construction. And the first batch of pilot programs have been initiated, and the second batch of programs, they are mainly located in Inner Mongolia, Ningxia, Xinjiang, Qinghai, Gansu, and other regions. And those regions are the home to the largest acres of China's Gobi Desert. The second batch of programs have now been included in the State Council's packaged policies for stabilizing economic development. At present, those regions are making careful preparations to lay a solid foundation for the future development of those programs. Going forward, we are going to strengthen our supervision so as to ensure that the first batch and second batch of the programs can be put on ground smoothly. Also, we have designated 7 new energy programs on the land and some wind power programs on the ocean, and we will coordinate with relevant government authorities to advance those projects. We hope that through this program we can dramatically advance green transition. Any other questions? Last question, please. Thank you very much. I'm with China News Agency. New energy storage, or the new type of energy storage, is a crucial technology for China to achieve the dual carbon targets. Can you brief us on the progress China has made in advancing the new type of energy storage technology? What are the key tasks? What are the key tasks we have to make breakthrough in? Thank you very much for your question. As we know that the traditional energy system features fluctuations, and with the introduction of wind power and solar and hydraulic power, there have been a lot of uncertainties. The new type of energy storage technology can play an important role. So that is why it has attracted the attention of the energy sector and also from different walks of social life. In general, since the 13th Five-Year Plan, the new type of energy storage has transitioned from research and development to commercialization. And right now, in terms of technological development, in commercialization, in exploration of business models, and also in the construction of the policy framework, we have made some tangible progress. The market share of this technology has dramatically expanded. It has started to show some support for China's energy security. We can see that from 3 aspects. Number one, technology and install capacity are both improving. The new type of energy storage technology has played an important role in improving efficiency, reducing cost, expanding the lifespan of power facilities, etc. Regarding the technical standards of this technology, we have made some meaningful progress. For example, the lithium battery and also pressurized air. And those technologies have become industrialized. By the end of last year, the total installed capacity of this technology had reached 4 million kilowatt hour. In comparison to China's total scale, this is a minimal, but we have to see that it is showing great momentum of growth. And number two, the different business scenarios are expanding. New energy plus energy storage, for example, wind and solar power plus power storage, are making meaningful progresses. Right now, we are seeing the combination of coal power, solar power, and wind power plus power storage. There are also new combinations of internet plus power storage. The diversified business scenarios are popping up, and they are quickly emerging on the market. And number three, the market mechanism and policy framework have basically been established. The NEA has worked with the NDRC of China. We have formulated a number of documents and policies which have played a very important role in mobilizing the enthusiasm of the market. Going forward, we will make 4 major efforts. Number one, advance the pilot programs of power storage. Through those pilot programs, we will be able to drive the development of this technology and also bring innovation to the business mechanisms. And number two, we will work together with relevant departments to research into channels of bringing down the cost of power storage so that we can dramatically expand the commercialization of this technology. And number three, we will guide different localities to carry out special researches and guide different localities to develop this technology according to their own realities. And number four, we're going to build a big data technology and big data platform. And by leveraging this platform, we will be able to drive the development of this industry in general. Thank you very much to all the friends from media, and thank you for showing interest in China's energy sector. All right, thank you very much, Minister Zhang, and thank you to all of you.